The war in Ukraine is raging now for the last 9 months. Kyiv has been resolutely defending its territories. Russia has been relentlessly attacking Ukraine. And the West has been ensuring non-stop supply of weapons to Ukraine. The question is, how long can this war grind on? The question boils down to resources. Moscow's war chest has expanded thanks to the Europeans who have filled up their gas reserves. But how long can the West continue to arm Ukraine? Let's look at some numbers. In total, NATO countries have provided some $40 billion in weaponry to Ukraine so far. To put it in perspective, this is roughly the size of France's annual defense budget. The European Union approved $3.1 billion to repay its member states who sent aid to Ukraine, but that fund is nearly 90% depleted. Smaller countries have exhausted their potential to help Ukraine financially, but the larger allies, such as France and Germany, are still in a position to do more. The Ukrainians want at least 4 systems that the West has not provided. This includes long-range surface-to-surface missiles, Western fighter jets and tanks. Washington is looking at older, cheaper alternatives to send to Ukraine. These include Tau missiles, which are in plentiful supply instead of javelins, and Hawk surface-to-air missiles instead of newer versions. Western officials are increasingly pushing Ukraine to be more efficient. For example, they are discouraging Kyiv from firing a missile that costs $150,000 at a drone that costs $20,000 because the West understands that the war has become about the economy now.
President Putin thinks that if he can just raise the costs high enough, the world will abandon Ukraine, that will leave them to fend for themselves. His strategy has not and will not work. We will continue to prove him wrong. That's what I heard loudly and clearly from every country here in Bucharest.
Western countries have been seeking ways to limit Russia's income from oil and gas exports since the war began. The G7 finance ministers have confirmed their intention to impose a price cap on Russian oil and urged all nations to support the initiative. The NATO foreign ministers are meeting in Bucharest to coordinate aid for Ukraine. They aim to keep the lights and furnaces on in Ukraine, where Russian strikes have damaged an estimated 1/3 of the electrical infrastructure. NATO is scrambling to scrape up replacement electrical gear that Russia has turned into its war machine to target Ukrainian civilians.